Hi everyone. I just want to make a short video today about diastasis recti, or separation of the abdominal muscles. I posted one in Hebrew the other day, and a few people have asked me to explain in English, so here it is. So diastasis recti is Latin for separation of the abdominal muscles, basically. And it really surprises me how few women know about it, and how many women after giving birth, when I ask if they have it, they're like, I don't know what that is. And for me, I don't understand why we're not taught this in schools, or why it's not part of prenatal classes that like everyone does. It's really simple. It's really quite basic information that we should know about our bodies and know how to fix. And something that's probably going to happen when we get pregnant, and we should know that, and we should know that happens, and we should know that there's a way to fix it, and we should know what makes it worse. Because another really common thing that I see is women coming to me, 10 months after having a baby, and they have very bad diastasis recti, and they don't understand why, because they've been doing crunches and planks and leg raises and all kinds of stuff. And that's what their trainers told them to do, and it's just not getting any better, it's getting worse. And without even checking, you can see that they have this separation, and I think they get pretty pissed when they find out that they've just made it worse for the past 10 months, and that their trainer hasn't told them what to do, their doctor hasn't told them what to do, they didn't even know that they had it. And I think it's really, really important information for women to know. So let's talk about what it is. It's basically, we have these abdominal muscles that wrap around our core, and that meet in the middle. And you can actually, you should be able to actually see the line in the abdominal muscles, where everything joins in the middle. There's a strip of connective tissue called the linea alba, which is the white line, and the difference, that's where all of the muscles connect, and it's that line down the middle of the six-pack that you see on really like lean men and women. And we all have it, and it's there. And normally, like away from pregnancy, it's just where the muscles join together. But it has this really clever patent that during pregnancy, it can stretch to accommodate for the growing baby, and so we can actually make room for it in our abdomen. And it's a totally normal mechanism, and there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing to try to prevent even. It's in some women it will happen more than in others, and we just really need to know how to fix it afterwards. The important thing that you need to know is the difference between the connective tissue, the fascia of the linea alba, and muscle. Is that muscle is very elastic. It has a lot of elastin in it, and it can stretch to 160%, I think, of its resting length, and then it goes back to where it was before. No harm done. But connective tissue isn't like that. It has a lot less elastin in it, and when we stretch it out, it's like I could compare it to the material of like this scarf that's not elastic. You can hear that as I tug at it. And if I really, really wanted to like stretch it and pull it, I would manage to stretch it out, but then it would stay stretched. It wouldn't go back to where it was before, as opposed to like the elastic of like our yoga pants and stuff. So this fascia gets really thin and stretched out, and it can't create tension. So we end up with this with this kind of thinned out wide bit of connective tissue, and then the abdominal contents actually bulge out of that. It's about what we got to understand is it's about pressure and containing the pressure within the abdomen, and when that connective tissue is like thinned out and stretched out, it doesn't have any tension in it. When we create large amounts of abdominal pressure, the abdominal contents press out through through that abdominal wall, and that's where we get that like mummy tummy or that like lower belly bulge, and it's also where you get that a lot of women will experience when they like do a sit up, that their abdomen will actually sort of like triangle, create a kind of triangle or like a tent. So this is pressure escaping through the weak part. How do you test it? Because that's really what you want to know. How do you find out if you have it? It's a really simple test that you can do at home. You don't need an expert to test it for you, although I know that's what a lot of you want. But you can at least give yourself get a gauge for whether or not you have it. And I'll just show you how to do that. So the test is really, really simple. You just need to, let me just get my camera set up. So you just need to lie on your back, and as though you're going to do a crunch, and lift your shirt up here. Now remember, the linear elbow goes from the pelvis all the way up to the sternum, and in a normal individual, normal is not really the right word, someone who hasn't had a baby, you'll be able to, you should always start at the belly button. Start with just one finger and get that finger like this. Like, don't try doing it like this, because it'll be a lot harder to tell. So get your finger like horizontal, vertical, and then from here you should just roll your head up as though you're doing a crunch. And what you should feel, well, not what you should feel, but it's a shame that in a way that I don't have diastasis recti to show you what it looks like. Maybe I can get a volunteer sometime. But if you look at, like, I actually do have a tiny separation here, where I can actually put, like, I can actually feel the difference between where my abdominal muscles are, and there's a dip in there to where I can touch the linea alba. In somebody who has, if you can feel it pinching around your finger, you then try it with 2 fingers and do it again. You might then be able to try it. I mean, if it's quite wide, you might need to get 3 fingers in, 4 even. Some people's it gets as wide as 6 fingers, and you can get an entire fist in between the 2 sides of the abdominal muscles. And you should, the 2 things, well, let's go into that afterwards. So you want to check at the belly button, and then you just want to kind of inch your way down, or centimeter your way down, and try again a little bit lower, and then try a bit lower, and then try a bit lower down towards the pelvis, and then start working your way up from the belly button and up to the rib cage. And you want to check for two things. You want to check for width and for depth. So we measure the width of the gap in fingers. So you might have 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers. You might be able to get sort of a whole fist into the separation, and what you should feel if you have a separation is a kind of say it's a 2 finger width. The 2 sides of, as you crunch up, the 2 sides of the abdominal muscles will pinch your fingers. And the second thing is depth. or tension. How much tension is in the fascia? So you could have like a three finger width gap in the abdominal muscle, between the abdominal muscles, but only like a tiny. You press with your fingers and there's a lot of tension in that fascia, and you can't, as opposed to being able to get the fingers into like the second knuckle or something. So again, the severity of it, say after several births, you may have 3 finger gap, but you still have a lot of tension in the muscles, and so in the fascia, and so so it doesn't affect the way the functioning of the abdomen. Whereas, you know, we could just have a 1 finger gap, but you might be able to get that finger really deep into the abdomen and there's no tension in the fascia. And so that would also be a severe gap, even though it's not very wide, there's no tension in it. So they're the things we need to look for, and you know, that's how you know if you have diastasis recti. Yeah, so that was, I'm not very good at ending these things. So basically, have a little go, practice that on yourself and play around with it. You can at least get a good idea. It's a very simple test. You can at least get a good idea if you do have a separation or not. And I'll create a separate video to explain how to, what not to do and what to do. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.